Good morning, everyone. Okay, we'll continue with our book reading this morning on the Toyota Way to Service Excellence by Jeffrey K. Leica and Karen Ross. We're still in chapter 10, and chapter 10 says the long journey to customer focused learning organization. Yesterday, we looked at principle 4 and principle 5, still under process. We talked about response to customer pull and strive for leveled work pattern. Today on page 366, we'll be looking at principle 6, stabilize and continually adopt work pattern. Stabilize and continually adopt work pattern. So I think we are having a problem, Ken said during our weekly meeting. Some customers have said they are frustrated because they haven't been getting text messages when they land. So they don't know if their driver is at the airport or available to pick them up. I've heard that too, said Joe, and I've had that experience. I chimed in. Do you think that everyone is following the same process using the app and in picking up our airport customers? Asked Joe. 10 minutes later, after they pulled each driver partner about his process, it was obvious that everyone was doing things differently. We need to have a standard way to use the app when we are picking up customers so that they get the information that they need, said Joe. So working together, the guys created a first version standard to try. This makes perfect sense to us, but how can we make sure that all our drivers are aware of the standard and will use it? Todd asked. After a few minutes of discussion, the partners decided that they would try the simplest solution, first experimenting on themselves. They would photocopy the piece of paper and keep it in the car with them. That way, they wouldn't have anything electronic that they would have to use their phone to reference, and they couldn't jot down notes on the page if something didn't work well or if they had another idea. And since it is written in pencil or in a piece of paper, it's really easy to change as we find better ways, said Ken. Gentlemen, try it out next week and let's see what happens. We can discuss what happened during next week's meeting, I suggested. And said Joe, we can look at the problem log for airport rides and see if we had any customer who didn't get the text message at the right time. We'll have a great opportunity to learn. Principle 7. Manage visually to see actual versus standard. Joe gushes about visual management and how it has helped National Taxi Limo. Since taxi drivers spend a lot of time driving, it is sometimes difficult for them to have time to stop and see the big picture. Just like their rides, their business is coming at them 24 hours a day. 65 miles per hour. However, as in many other service business, if you can't see what is actually happening, everything seems to be random. And if everything seems to be random, how can it be managed so that customers receive the service they need and the business reaches its target? NTL's visual management system helps Joe, Todd, and Ken see what is happening on a day-to-day basis so that they can make sense of it and visualize any problem in real time during the day. Joe updates ride, drivers, pickup times, and revenue throughout the day on a whiteboard in the office. Color coding makes it easy for everyone to see the source of the ride. Green is an NTL direct customer and blue is a ride sent to NTL by another company. Since NTL is working to grow its own customer bases, it is important for the partners to be able to see how close they are to their target of NTL generated rides each day. If there is a drop or cancelled ride, it's noted in red. Besides each drop or cancelled ride is a reason code. During the 3 daily huddle, Joe and the team can quickly review any dropped or cancelled rides and make sure that they have countermeasure in place to prevent the problem from reoccurring. The team is experimenting with 3 times a day huddle, and there is a green check mark or red X beside each, noting whether the huddle took place and whether the standard was followed. Being able to see whether we are huddling or not has really helped us get better at it, says Joe. And what we found out is that if we don't huddle, rides don't get covered or aren't picked up on time. So huddling is a really important part of our purpose. Being able to see which ones we are completing and which ones we are not has helped us change what we do. Like I said before, now you see it, now you do it. As well as using visual management to understand and manage on a daily basis, Joe, Todd, and Ken also use it during their end-of-week partner meetings to check to see that they are making progress towards their roadmap goal. Each week, target for numbers of ride, revenue, hurdles, and advertising for the next week are set. These targets roll up the long-range NTL roadmap goals. During the meetings, the partners review whether they reach each target and they go over the problems that occur during the week. They review the effectiveness of countermeasures that were put in place, and if targets are missed, countermeasures are created for the next week. Everyone can easily see where NTL is compared with where it wants to be. It's really easy, says Joe, and it will change our time. You don't have to have a complicated system. You just have to see where you are and where you want to be. Then you can find out how to get there. Okay, so this was stuff for our reading this morning. Talking about stabilize and continually adopt work pattern and manage visually to see actual versus standards. In NTL service or organization, you can see it is reusing all these principles that it has talked about in previous pages. Learning standards, how you approach things, how to set standard, how to set standard in your work process and in your organization, which is what NTL services have been doing here. They've been using the principles and the points and patterns that lean transformation has been using in organization, which has been working for them. So in our reading today, they stabilize and continually adopt work patterns. They try to find the issues they were having and try to look for standards for them. Same thing as in principle 7, where I said manage visually to see actual versus standard. Using written down things like to solve problems, to know where the issue is and to know how to and what kind of solution to bring to them, most especially in using the app. So this is where we'll stop for our reading this morning. Thank you.